My name is Chloe Bennett. I am 26 years old, and for most of my life I believed my parents loved me equally. We lived in a small town called Ashton Creek in Colorado. My father, Daniel Bennett, worked at a factory for years until it closed down, and my mother, Laura Bennett, worked part-time at a clothing store near the highway. I also had an older brother named Mason who was always treated differently from me. He got expensive birthday gifts, sports equipment, and money whenever he needed it. When he turned 16, my parents bought him a car even though they always said money was tight. When he started college, they paid for his tuition without hesitation. But whenever I asked for something small, my mother always smiled sadly and said, "Maybe next time, sweetheart." I was the quiet child in the family. I loved reading, studying, and working with numbers. I got my first job at 15 in a small bakery downtown and saved almost every paycheck because my parents constantly reminded me they could not afford to help me after high school. I accepted it and worked harder. I earned scholarships, worked late shifts during college, and survived on cheap instant noodles more times than I can count. While my brother enjoyed college parties and road trips, I spent weekends doing homework and extra shifts just to pay rent. After graduating, I moved to Seattle for my first real job as a data assistant at a marketing company. The salary was not amazing, but it was enough for a small apartment and a fresh start. I found a simple apartment with narrow windows and old wooden floors, but I loved it because it would finally belong to me. I filled out the rental application feeling excited for the future. 3 days later, the property manager called me sounding nervous. He said my application was denied because of serious problems on my credit report. I honestly thought he had the wrong person. I had never opened a credit card before, never financed a car, and never borrowed money from anyone. That night I checked my credit report online, and my entire life changed in seconds. There were dozens of accounts under my name. Credit cards, loans, utility bills, and business accounts. The total debt was over $360,000. My chest felt tight while scrolling through pages filled with information that did not belong to me. Every account listed my parents' home address. Some accounts were opened when I was only 14 years old. Someone had even changed my birth year on applications to make me look older. I sat frozen in silence staring at the screen for almost an hour before finally calling my mother. At first she acted calm like none of it mattered. Then she laughed softly and said, "Family helps family." I remember gripping my phone so tightly my fingers hurt. She admitted that years earlier my father lost his job and they were desperate. Their own credit was ruined, so they started using my social security number to open accounts. They promised themselves it would only be temporary, but temporary slowly became years. My father got on the phone and told me not to overreact because they were planning to fix everything eventually. Eventually? I was already 26 years old with destroyed credit and nowhere to live. A few hours later my brother called angry that I upset our parents. During the argument he accidentally admitted he already knew about the fake business under my name. Hearing that broke me more than anything else. My own family had known for years while I worked myself to exhaustion trying to survive honestly. I moved into my best friend Olivia's apartment because I could not get approved anywhere else. I slept on an air mattress beside her couch while debt collectors called my phone every single day. Sometimes 6 or 7 calls before breakfast. Because I worked with data, I started organizing everything into spreadsheets. Every account, every date, every balance. That was when I found the fake business registration. A company called Bennett Event Rentals LLC was registered completely under my name. The filing date made me feel sick because it happened on my 14th birthday. While I was celebrating with cake and balloons, my parents were signing legal papers using my identity. I hired a lawyer who explained that the only way to fix my credit was by officially reporting the fraud and naming the people responsible. My parents. For weeks I avoided making a decision because part of me still wanted to protect them. Then I discovered they had also filed fake tax returns under my social security number for years. Tax refunds had been deposited directly into my mother's account. My brother's college tuition had been paid using money earned through the fake business attached to my identity. Everything in my childhood suddenly looked different. Every excuse about money. Every "we can't afford it." Every time I felt guilty for asking for too much. One weekend I visited my parents pretending everything was normal. While they went shopping, I searched through an old filing cabinet in the garage and found folders filled with forged documents carrying my fake signature. Loan papers, tax forms, business records. I recognized my mother's handwriting immediately. Her best friend had even notarized the documents pretending I was there. I secretly photographed everything and returned the papers exactly where I found them. That evening my mother smiled across the dinner table asking if I wanted dessert while proof of her crimes sat hidden inside my phone. The following Monday I filed police reports, identity theft forms, and disputes with the credit bureaus. I cried afterward because I knew there was no way back after that moment. The investigation lasted almost a year. My parents blamed me for ruining the family. Relatives called me selfish and cold-hearted. Some said I should forgive them because they were struggling financially. Nobody seemed to care that I was only 14 when they stole my identity. Nobody cared that my future had been damaged before I even understood what credit was. Eventually federal investigators became involved because of the fake tax returns. My parents were charged with identity theft and fraud. My brother faced legal trouble for hiding information. During the investigation I learned something painful. My parents had enough money during the last few years to start paying off the debt under my name, but instead they bought expensive furniture, vacations, electronics, and a new SUV. They never planned to fix anything. They simply hoped I would never find out. After many months, the fraudulent accounts were finally removed from my credit report one by one. My score slowly improved. For the first time in years my name belonged to me again. A few months later I applied for another apartment. When the property manager called to say I was approved, I sat in my car and cried quietly holding the keys in my hand. It was the first home connected to my name because I chose it myself. No lies. No stolen identity. No forged signatures. Just me and a fresh start. Sometimes people still tell me I should forgive my parents because family is family. But this story was never about revenge. It was about protecting the future they tried to take from me. Love without honesty is not real love. Family should never use guilt to justify betrayal. Hard times do not give anyone permission to destroy another person's life. Trust is valuable, and once it is broken, rebuilding it can take years. Real love never steals from the people it claims to protect. Difficult situations reveal a person's true character. Silence about wrongdoing only makes the damage worse. Protecting your peace, your future, and your boundaries is not selfish. Advice: always check your personal records and important documents regularly. Learn about financial safety at a young age. Never ignore red flags just because someone is family. Healthy relationships are built on honesty, respect, and accountability. Question: if someone close to you secretly ruined your future and then asked for forgiveness because family comes first, would you forgive them or walk away forever?